Let's start the meeting, and we've got several things on here, so we're going to move as quickly as we can. First, Mr. Smith, could you give our invocation pledge, please?
Right. Father, thank you for the day. Thank you for this great crowd that has turned out, and the rest of you, what's going on in Grayson County. Thank you for the leadership that's been elected to take care of all the things that need taken care of. Lord, we pray that you give them wisdom as they direct through this meeting tonight. For it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. At this time, we need to entertain a motion to adjust the agenda.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. In regards to the agenda, make a motion to amend pertaining to closed session portion of the agenda. To discuss a personnel matter pursuant to 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia involving the Sheriff's Department, and for discussion related to prospective business or industry of the expansion of an existing business or industry pursuant to 2.2-3711A5 of the Code of Virginia, and for discussions related to investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved pursuant to 2.2-3711A6 of the Code of Virginia involving Galax Grayson EMS.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm also aye. Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda and the consent agenda.
So
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, first thing on the agenda tonight is a public hearing to receive public comment on the proposed secondary 6-year plan for fiscal years 25 and 26 through 30/31 in Grayson County, and on the secondary system construction budget for fiscal year 25-26.
So
I'd like to entertain a motion to go in public hearing. A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're in public hearing. Do we want to update from VDOT on this? Quick update before we call it public comment.
Good evening. So I'll just recap a little bit from last year's 6-year plan. Last year we added Horseshoe Drive, Saddle Creek, and Beaver Dam. The estimate for Beaver Dam was $427,500. We didn't have enough funding to fully fund that route, so funding that we received for this year, the FY31, we needed to take off of the allocation to fund Beaver Dam, to fully fund it. So we were able to cover $209,036 last year. So this year we had to take $218,464 to fully fund Beaver Dam. So it'll be fully funded in FY31. So the FY31 allocation was $657,823. Obviously, we took the $218 off of that, and that left $439,359 for additional projects for FY31. So we have sort of been working down a list that the board and the county has provided to us just over the last several years of routes and interests, basically, that the public has had interest in. And so I think working down that list, the recommendation for the FY31 funds would be Rimrock, and the estimate for it would be $232,400. And then the other one would be Chestnut Grove with an estimate of $450,000. So obviously, we don't have enough funds to fully fund Chestnut Grove. So that would leave us a deficit of $243,041, which we would need to pull from next year's funding to fully fund it. So, and then what we try to do is we try not to have any more, we can have at least one route that's not fully funded on the plan, because we want to try to keep it as a real 6-year plan. So we want to try to keep working toward that so we can take care of getting the roads built. So,
Thank you. So at this point, we'll do public hearing. You've got 3. Come to the podium, state your name and address, and at that time, the clock will start ticking. You have 3 minutes, and I apologize, but we're going to keep everybody to 3 minutes. We got a lot of these tonight. First speaker is Tom Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a lot to say today. I'm 354 Two Rivers Drive. That's off of Pleasant Grove Road. So I've been here a lot of years asking about Pleasant Grove Road. Last year it was funded, the funds were allocated for it, but they delayed starting construction until fiscal year 26. We'd just like to hear that that's actually going to happen in fiscal year 26.
so it's still on the plan.
You got an answer in the 2 minutes and 24 seconds. So.
Right, my paper is all over the place. I will say, and this is the unfortunate thing, is the hurricane has slowed us down a little bit, and we're trying to get back on track with that, and we're getting close to having everything caught back up and all the projects, or get back on the projects like we should. So, I'm sure I'm gonna be able to collect that fast. So Pleasant Grove should be fully funded. It is fully funded, and
Mr. Chairman, colleagues, last year at this hearing, I said, you never know what's going to happen. And once money gets allocated, stuff happens and it gets diverted. Lord knows, Helene on Pleasant Grove Road, we're up top, but those that weren't got devastated. And I express that concern again.
right. So it is funded. And I have a list, and obviously I'll be able to bring that with me to find out exactly where it's at on. Typically, every project has to go through an engineering phase, and and they go through drainage reviews and environmental reviews. And if I'm not mistaken,
James,
I think-
if he's out by time, if you can get that information, we can send it to Mr. James.
That'd be better.
Appreciate it. So just send it to her.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. Robert Pauley.
Yes, I'm Robert Polly. I'm on 876 Lost Lake Road in Troutdale. I was here last year, and I missed the year before that, but the year before that I was here. And we're here to talk about Lost Lake Road, getting it on 6-year plan. I had talked to the engineering supervisor, Mr. Williams, and he said that it could be approved for what the rustic road system program that Virginia has. And we just want to know possibly what's happened is there's so many people, we have so many new people in that road, that there's so much traffic that it just stays tore up all the time, so many potholes and all that kind of stuff. Thought they'll fix it, and then it's no time until, we got a lot of traffic nowadays. And so we really like to get that, in the program if possible, in the 6-year program somehow. So that's what I'm here for.
Staff follow up with you to see where it is. I'm not supposed to talk to you during your 3 minutes, but we'll follow up on it. There's been a lot of conversation about loss.
Is there anything else that I can do to, should I call anybody or anything like that?
If VDOT's reviewed it, and it can make constructed as a rural resident.
Yeah.
Board recommend.
Yeah, that's what
Are you Mr. Lee? Yes, but I'm sorry.
but good to see you again.
That's all. What's your?
Thank you, Mr. Pauly. Jeff Horn.
Good evening, Jeff Warren, 1613 Lost Lake Road, Troutdale. I was also here last year, and I think we talked to you out in the hallway after the meeting, and you did, I think, communicate to Robert and maybe to me too about it was approved to be able to do. That was the whole question last year. And I think I sent you an email at some point thereafter, but I don't ever recall getting a reply. So yeah, I'm here to again, reiterate the same thing. We want to get the road paved some way because it's just last year was a pretty hard winter for all of us because we had Hurricane Helene did a lot of damage in the beginning. Then we had the tree cutting crews messing up the roads on top of that, which they came up a little ways on Lost Lake and then they pulled out. But Flat Ridge Road is really, really bad. Still, we still have some potholes that are down to the dirt, cracked roads from the top of the mountain down to the county line. Now, Smith County has fixed the road, patched it, not really fixed it, sort of semi-patched it. But that's, I don't know if you've noticed or been over that way. I'd like to get that fixed. I know it's on the edge of the county there, so sometimes I think things get overlooked, but over last. But again, we are growing. We do have a lot of traffic. We have, wintertime. It's just miserable. Mud mostly, and salt, of course. It's everywhere, but ice and it's either the dust or the potholes and the mud. It's really I can't get the vehicle clean. Every time I travel to town, it's in a car wash. My wife jokes that I should just put a car wash in the driveway. So when I drive in, it's clean, and when I drive out, I come back and it's clean. So anyway, that's it. We want you guys to know that we want to get the road paved at some point. If we can do it this way, that sounds like a plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Horn. Jerry Wilson.
Jerry Wilson, 452 Hickory Lane, Gaylorders. I've been here for years and years, so everybody knows me up here, and I won't give you a full list. I could stand here for an hour and tell you a lot of the things that's wrong with the road. Can't pass on it. Either go to the ditch or back up. You can't. We had some construction going on last year. A couple of the people that had the construction brought in dozers and backhoes, and up at the far end of the road, they had to back all the way down. They couldn't, no place to turn around down there. As you go off the hardtop onto the dirt road, it's got a, look like a pothole all the way across, about that wide and about that deep. If you have to go across just to get onto the road. It's a mud hole or a dust bowl, one or the other. I call once a year and ask them to come and put stuff on the road for the dust. They'll come and put it on, and 3 weeks later it's gone. when they come and put gravel on, they put, crusher run on, and it's 2/3 dirt, and it takes a great big wash to get the dirt out of the gravel, so the gravel will be there. And by that time, you've got ditches all the way across the road, 3 or 4 different places. My grandson lives there. The road's that much higher than his driveway, and it was put there by VDOT. I watched them put it there. I don't know why they put it there, but they put it that high. And the gravel washes over into his driveway every time it rains. One of my neighbors has got a driveway that's low too, and water runs from the road into his garage. And I could go on, but I mean, they've got a list of everything. I come every year, and I'm getting too old, and one of these days I won't be here. So then you can forget about it, I guess. But I appreciate anything you can do.
Thank you, Mr. Will.
So if your road's on here to be fixed, it's just, we don't know the date yet.
It was on one time before.
It's been on here. So we're just going down the line of the roads and getting fixed.
We'll tell everybody they'll be happy.
Well, tell them to stand by, so don't stand by, stand by. Thanks. Okay, all right.
Charles Welfare.
Charles Welfare, 4161 Beech Grove Lane, Galax. I come every year also, and Beech Grove Lane was on schedule, I believe, to start October the 5th of last year, and we got replaced by the hurricane. My question is Beech Grove Lane scheduled for this year? And that's a yes, but you don't know when?
I don't know when.
And is that something you can let us know? Okay, I appreciate that very much. I thank you for your service to our community. And I speak on behalf of myself and my neighbors on Beech Grove Lane. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That concludes anybody who signed up. This requires action, Mr. Board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Get a second. All those in favor, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, coming out of public hearing, signify by saying aye. Aye. I'm also aye. So with 3 resolutions, is that the action that we need to do now? We're gonna waive the reading of the resolutions. Can we vote on them as all 3 of them at the same time?
Yeah, in the same category.
Okay, this is a roll call vote.
It is.
So I would entertain a motion to approve the resolutions for the secondary 6-year plan, resolution for Rimrock Lane, and resolution for Chestnut Grove Road to go on to the 6-year plan.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, a little bit of discussion. I will say I have been on Lost Lake Road, and I do know that it really needs some work. So I would ask if we could check on getting that one on, and also another one. I've heard a lot of comments on this Cornerstone Road, to where it meets Greystone Road, is what I was told. If we could look into that also. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
And we've already put the ones on for this year, so
Yeah,
it'll be next week.
Yeah, well, whenever we can do it next.
I think that's one of the biggest breakdowns is we have to remember which roads are here. Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Cash? Aye. Mr. Cornett? Aye. Ms. Thompson?
Aye.
And I'm also aye. Okay, next item on the agenda is a public hearing to receive public comment regarding a special use permit application to own and operate a commercial boarding and breeding kennel located at 643 Shale Hollow Lane, Elk Creek, Virginia. Tax map number 8-A-22, 2C1. This time I will entertain a motion for the board to go into public hearing. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. We're now in public hearing. Huh?
Yes.
Please.
Good evening. To follow up with the request from Stephen Ryan Wilson for Wilson's Black and Tans, presented an application in February to own and operate a commercial boarding and breeding kennel. The kennel, again, has been in operation since 2023, and all this was provided in the staff report in the board packet, and it currently lacks the required authorization to operate. So approval of this special use permit would bring the operation into compliance with section 2-32 and 2-33 of the Grayson County zoning ordinance. Again, as Chairman mentioned, the address is 643 Shale Hollow Lane. It is tax map number 8-A-2C1. It's in the rural farm zone district, which allows kennels by a special use permit. The access to get to Shale Hollow is off of Mountain Music, and which Mountain Music is, you got to get Spring Valley to Mountain Music. And then the surroundings of this particular parcel is predominantly agricultural and residential. And the facility itself, as it sits, is currently located behind the residence and screened in by existing vegetation. So as part of my job, I have to look through an analysis and provide an analysis to the Planning Commission. And these were some of the highlights that I provided in my staff report. So compatibility with the surrounding uses. The kennel itself is consistent with the rural farm and agricultural character of the area. The kennel as it sits right now is 200 to 650 feet from the neighboring homes, naturally buffered by vegetation. And I want to also reiterate that when I say residentials, this particular kennel is situated within a community of family. Potential impacts is something that we have to look at. So the noise, the odor, the public services, and animal control. I did contact them. Impacts of this kind of magnitude, it definitely can be an impact to the neighboring properties. However, the vegetative buffers are in place, and I'll allude to a little more about vegetative buffers when we come up to public comment. But when I ask the owner, the waste is disposed of typically in the horse pasture. And at this point, animal control would not receive any kind of comments or concerns, so there was no violations involved there. There are no public or known impacts to public services and no complaints from animal control. We look through the comprehensive plan. Does this special use permit align with the comprehensive plan? While kennels are not explicitly spelled out in the comprehensive plan, it does support and can support with economic development strategies, particularly for niche businesses and tourism-related activities. And that's found in Chapter 5, Strategy 5-51. We notified as appropriate to the public. We notified the declaration, and it ran for 2 consecutive weeks there. We also ran the ad in the county's Facebook page. At the time when I done the initial first the staff report, I had not received any objections. However, days prior to, I did receive one objection from an adjoining landowner regarding the noise. And this neighbor's name was William, or most people know him as Bill Baldwin. He did express concern, citing recorded dog barking with a decimal data from an app. I provided that information to the Planning Commission. Although those particular recordings were not calibrated by a specific noise meter, they do potentially cause auditory intrusion. But during the public comment period, Mr. Baldwin retracted his complaint, stating that he had spoken with the Wilsons, sharing his concern, and that the Wilsons were unaware of his issues with the dogs barking. So to address the complaint and to be good neighbors, the Wilsons had planned to purchase dog barking collars and was planting additional vegetation, evergreens, along the property line to buffer the sound. And then I believe the board was presented a email tonight from a Robin Harrison, I'm sorry, I'm not prepared. She says to the dear supervisors, and as an Elk Creek resident, less than 1 mile from 643 Shale Hollow Lane, as the crow flies, I urge you to approve the applicant's kennel permit if they have met the requirements for it. For over 15 years before these permit requirements, I maintained a kennel of working Siberian Huskies atop my knob. Neighbors had wonderful kennels of hound dogs for hunting. We love dogs up here. On Facebook, many who don't live in my neighborhood vehemently opposed this kennel permit, blaming purpose-driven breeders for every mutt that winds up in the shelter and fails to find a home as an erroneous non-squatter. I can't say that word, apologize. If this applicant has done the right thing in order to gain a kennel permit, they should not be punished and denied. Thank you for your consideration in the matter. So as the Planning Commission reviewed the application, they reviewed my staff report, this is what the Planning Commission has proposed. In consideration of public necessity, convenience, general welfare, public safety and health, as well as good zoning practices, the Planning Commission recommends approval to the Grayson County Board of Supervisors, the special use permit application 2025-0205, Wilson's Black and Tans to operate a commercial boarding and breeding kennel located on tax map number 8 A-2C1 to be approved subject to the following conditions. Compliance with state code. The owner operator must comply with the requirements outlined in the Virginia Code, section 3.2-6507.2 of Virginia commercial dog breeding in order to maintain a valid special use permit. Number 2 is expansion or modification. Any modifications or expansions of the 8-bay kennel facilities will require a revision to the special use permit. 3, annual compliance review. To ensure the special use permit remains valid, the owner operator must provide to the planning department accurate kennel records for compliance prior to the issuance of an annual kennel tag. And 4, cessation of use. If the commercial boarding and breeding business ceases operations within 24 months of receiving said special use permit, the permit will be rendered invalid.
Thank you, Ms.
Have any questions for me?
Sorry. So, and I'm gonna forgive me if I missed this. Is there a certain number that's a threshold for to require for its kennel, like number of dogs?
Yeah, inside of our zoning ordinance, it's 5+ intact males and 5+ intact females, canines or felines. So what we've been doing is kind of a checks and balances. I created an application that a person comes into the treasurer's office, they want to get a kennel tag. That sends them back to me at my office. They fill out the application. Now, mind you, that 5 intact is for a commercial fee for services. You can have more than 5 companion animals. The way I interpret the zoning ordinance, you can get a kennels license. You're not operating a business. They're your companions. So that checks and balances kind of threw us into this situation.
Nobody else? Entertain a motion to come out of public hearing.
So moved.
A motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, this requires board action to either approve or deny, so I'll entertain a motion for either way.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve special use permit for the dog kennel.
Second.
A motion and a second. This does not require a roll call vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm also aye. Next thing on the agenda is a public hearing to receive comments regarding the Grayson County proposed budget for fiscal year 2025-2026. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm also aye. Okay, just like the last public hearing, state your name, state your address, and the clock starts ticking in 3 minutes. And just for clarification, we're not allowed to speak to you during your time. So if there's questions that arise, staff's taking notes and we'll get back with you at an appropriate time. So Michelle Pridgeon.
I'm Michelle Pridgeon. I live at 2558 Hines Branch Road in Elk Creek, Virginia. I am a very tiny vegetable producer, and I'm also a member of the Ag Advisory Board. And I am here to speak on behalf of the value of the position of the Ag Economic Development Specialist. The position was created because of the acknowledgement in this county that ag is our #1 economic driver. And supporting ag is key to the continued growth of our economy and our agriculture sector. During Lindsay's tenure, she is our Ag Economic Development Specialist. She has helped producers write and receive grant funding. She has developed web and Facebook pages that promote agriculture and also help spread information regarding trainings and opportunities for ag producers and folks interested in agriculture at large. She has created the Ag Breakfast to provide a meeting place for producers as well as the general public who are curious about agriculture and what's happening in our county. In addition, she has created the Ag Banquet, which has regularly drawn our state Secretary of Ag and Forestry. This last time, that gentleman drove 6 hours to be here, spoke for 30 minutes, got back in his car and drove 6 hours back. I think that indicates the value that the state of Virginia sees in the creation of this position. In addition, under her leadership, the Ag Fair has doubled more in size. And I think awareness of agriculture in this county has grown substantially. But truly, during Hurricane Helene and in the aftermath of that, the efforts that she put forth were truly heroic and remarkable. She and Kevin Sperlin put in more hours than I can imagine, and they got needed supplies to producers in this county way before FEMA showed up. I'd just like to say that this position is very crucial to our county, and the position as well as Lindsay have been a valuable asset. So thank you for listening to me mumble, but I hope that hasn't detracted from the value of this position. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Pridgeon. Next speaker, John Fant.
Do it better, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. John Fant, 2412 Summerfield Road, Independence, Virginia. Last week, I saw in the paper the public notice of the meeting of this hearing. So due to the size of the print, I had to put on my readers, and I worked my way through the budget. It brought back some familiar feelings, similar to those I had in Afghanistan and Iraq, yet I got through it. In basic terms, the county's annual budget does two things. First, it allocates public funds to provide services. Secondly, and most significant in my view, the budget is an opportunity for the county leadership to articulate the fiscal priorities for the upcoming year. Simply stated, it is a statement by the supervisors about what is important. The county has several competing priorities: public education, public safety, emergency services, economic development, just to name four. Of those four, funds spent on economic development efforts have a direct line to returns to those investments. Every public official, elected or otherwise, is quick to point out that agriculture is the county's and the Commonwealth's #1 economic engine. We are proud of that fact, and we should be. As a former soldier and a current farmer, food security is part of national security. And Grayson County farmers help provide food security in which everyone in this room partakes daily. About 8 years ago, the county began to invest in the significance of agriculture to our county through the creation of the Ag Economic Development Office, the first of its kind in the Commonwealth. We now routinely recognize and celebrate agriculture through the county fair and our ag banquet. For the past 3 years, the Secretary of Agriculture and Forestry has traveled to Grayson County to acknowledge our importance and his appreciation. Secretary Lore's attendance is not by happenstance. He knows something unique is happening in Grayson County, largely due to the effectiveness of our investment. Finally, local farmers are being recognized and celebrated for their part of helping secure everyone else. My concern is this proposed budget eliminates the department responsible for making a lot of this happen. Frankly, this budget is not in line with what we say is economically important. I understand and support the proposed levy increase, but I do not support the elimination of this unique capability. We need to continue to develop agriculture opportunities for today's and tomorrow's farmers. We must continue to lead the Commonwealth, and we must sustain the ag economic development effort.
Thank you, Mr. Frank. Mary Young. Mary O. Young.
I'm Mary Young, 1624 Battlefield Drive, Independence, Virginia. And I was not a wordy person and was a math teacher, so ignore when I speak poorly. Looking at the budget information in the paper, I was shocked that the farmers and the agriculture people in Grayson County are being overlooked again. Consider the fact that a lot of the budget funds come from farms who are not recognized with land use taxation as many of our surrounding areas are, but it's only within the last few years that agriculture and farmers have been recognized in any way. I think you need to remember where most of the budget money comes from and keep all the agricultural programs we have now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Young. Casey Johnson. Terrible penmanship, by the way.
Casey Johnson, 26 Old Orchard Lane, Mount Wilson. I rise tonight as a member of the Ag Advisory Committee and to express my support for the Office of Ag and Economic Development, particularly for the commitment to supporting young and beginning farmers. Their work is critical in helping the next generation of agricultural leaders get started and succeed in an increasingly complex and competitive landscape. By providing access to resources, training, and technical assistance, the office helps new farmers build viable operations and contribute meaningfully to our food system and economies. This kind of support isn't just helpful, it is essential for ensuring the long-term sustainability and resilience of agriculture in our community. I appreciate the thoughtful approach and the real practical impact they're making on the ground. Investing in new farmers is investing in the future, and I'm grateful for the leadership they continue to show in this space. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Shannon Redditor.
I'm Shannon Ranifer, 7539 Grayson Parkway, and I just want to come and say that I want to offer you information on how important this agricultural industry is to the kids and supporting them. I have been involved in the livestock show for the last 20-some years, and it has grown tremendously. And the involvement in the youth in this county has grown tremendously. And seeing these kids get involved and their personalities and their confidence has grown so much with the support of the ag industry. And that comes from the county offering support. And the importance of that and growing this county in the agriculture industry is crucial for the survival of agriculture. And this county needs the agricultural industry. And these kids I've seen so many of them grow, and it's just, you got to support and encourage that, and you got to have the funding to do that. So if you all could find it in your heart to support these kids and the whole industry, it would be very encouraging. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Redditor. Sarah Torres.
I'm Sarah Torres. I live at 964 Crossroads Drive. I'm part owner of Crest Haven Dairy, and my brother and sister and I assumed ownership of our family operation around the same time that the Ag Economic Development Director position was created. And from the very beginning, it was just a huge relief to me to know that I had a point of reference. I had a resource. I can work with cows all day long, but I do not have an economic mind. And so it has been essential ever since we've taken over to know that we can reach out to Lindsay. I've always found her she has never failed to respond, and in a more than timely manner. She has connected us, helped us network. She has provided a wealth of information, resources. She has also worked very hard helping us trying to find new ways of increasing our profitability. And I just feel like this position is very important to our county. As was mentioned, I believe we were the first to have this in the state of Virginia. And I actually participated in a conference call for another locality looking to do the same thing. They were asking about my experience. I have only positive things to say. Very thankful for it. I assumed full-time owner-operator position when I was well into my 30s. I believe in this county we have many very talented young people who desire to farm, and I cannot imagine assuming ownership of my operation when I'm 18, early 20s, and not having this person to go to help me network and build. So I believe that industry is important. I believe that feeding people is a calling, and I feel that our land is blessed to be able to feed people, and I would hate to see anything put that in danger. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Torres. Sandy Cunningham.
Sandy Cunningham, 2872 Jefferson Highway, mouth of Wilson. I really have nothing to add other than I was at ball practice today, got a text message. They're going saying, "Hey, y'all thinking about cutting this out?" My mama used to say, have a saying for something like this: you got this great big budget, this little bitty piece you want to cut out. You gagging on that, swallowing elephants. Everybody that's talked before me has hit on something. One thing I want to emphasize is that the Ag Fair is a youth show, encourages youth to get involved in agriculture, to show their quality livestock. People from not only this county, but from Smith County, Wythe County, other places come to that show. It's a real good networking thing for the young people. I'm talking about folks. Another thing, 65% or so of your revenue comes from your farm owners, and you're talking about cutting out the one thing that they can go to when they need help. Other than that, I don't have very much to say. I thought it was so important, though. I left Highlands at 5:30, got time 10 minutes after 6. So thank y'all, appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. Okay, motion to come out of public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are now out of public hearing. This does not require action of any kind, correct? Okay. We're moving on to reports, presentations, and/or requests. The first one we have is Cynthia Grant, Mayor, Town of Freeze, request for water filter.
I have packets for everyone to substantiate the Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Supervisors, and Mr. County Administrator and staff. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening on behalf of the Town of Freeze. I come before you tonight to respectfully request your consideration and support for one critical infrastructure need, that was a typo, that directly impacts the health and safety and quality of life for our citizens. First, as part of our continuing effort to maintain and improve the Town of Freeze water treatment capabilities, we are facing an urgent need to replace our 2 antiquated water filter assemblies at our water treatment facility. These assemblies are not only outdated, but increasingly unreliable, placing strain on our operations and posing a risk to quality and safety of our water supply. In December, we issued a request for proposals to have the filters removed and replaced. Unfortunately, we received only one bid in the amount of $666,800. In addition to that, we anticipated $36,800 in engineering fees and approximately $12,000 in construction inspection fees. This brings the total project cost to an estimated $715,600. The Town of Freeze is committed to doing our part. We have allocated $413,000 from our ARPA funds and secured an additional $100,000 from the Mount Rogers Planning District Commission's Water Wastewater Funding Program, giving us a combined total of $513,000. That leaves us with a funding shortfall of $202,600. Tonight, I respectfully ask that the Board of Supervisors consider allocating this amount in the county's fiscal year 2025-2026 budget to help us complete this vital project. Your support will ensure that the town can continue to provide clean, safe, and reliable water to our residents and businesses without delay or interruption. In conclusion, I know that every request you receive represents an important need. This project, the water filter replacement, is about basic community infrastructure, safe water, basically safe water. Your assistance will not only solve immediate problems, but will also strengthen our town's long-term resilience and livability. Thank you again for your time, your service, and your thoughtful consideration of these requests. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Grant.
Thank you.
So I was just wanting to ask, so you're within 200,000, roughly $200,000. Have you guys considered any type of loan for this?
No, not to date. We have not.
Okay. And
we're already operating on a shoestring budget, so and we have a couple of other loans. So no, we have not.
Okay. The other, so I've been on this board this is my 4th year. When I first came on, this was an issue then, with the water filters, so we were hearing about that.
Right.
So If you've not considered a loan, is that something you guys would be open to?
I would have to take it to our town council. I'm not at liberty to make that decision alone.
Okay. And other than these grants, what other means have you guys pursued before?
Well, I've been mayor for a little over 2 years, and I believe they pursued other avenues before I came on board, but I'm not familiar. I don't have that information at hand.
That's all.
Can I ask a
Can I speak?
question?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Ma'am, good to see you as always.
Good to see you.
You're dedicating the ARPA dollars to this, is that understand?
Yes.
And how much would that be?
ARPA is 413,000. And then we have 100,000 from Mount Rogers.
So those dollars have to be executed by?
I think we're well within, we wrote a memorandum of understanding, so we were protected.
Good, okay, just want to make sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You need a break? Everybody good, or you need a 5-minute break? Let's push through. Next, we have Nick Avila and Emily Boyles to give us a presentation on Baywood School.
Okay, I'll start this. Do you have the presentation on?
Got it.
Okay. So the board made the decision a while back to try to divest themselves of current properties they had that we own and operate or maintain, I would say. Baywood Schools went through a few I guess opportunities to look at building something there. I reached out to Nick, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. I started trying to understand what he does and how he does it and the cost of things. And he talked to me about his passion and what he's interested in and what he sees from a vision standpoint. We started talking about Baywood School, and he talked about trying to develop a school for children that have intellectual disabilities. And he's, I think he's had a vision of this for a while. And so we went and visited Baywood School a couple times. He brought contractors in. We had contractors go through the building a couple times. Obviously, I'm interested in jobs. I'm interested in building a business in the community and doing something that I think is positive and productive. And I think that's what the board's kind of giving me guidance on. So that's kind of how this unfolded. And so we've met a couple times. He's very interested in the property there. This is just a kind of a briefing of how they see this and what their visions and thoughts are, and some of the data behind it. And so that's what this is. No decision today, just some information for you. And this is Emily Boyles, and Emily's going to give a briefing.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us. As Mr. Boyer said, I'm Emily Boyles, and I'm currently the HR director at Avila Residential Services, and I've been put in charge of this because I have 18 years of experience in public education, elementary through high school, and now currently I'm also teaching college classes in the field of education. So this is definitely something that I'm passionate about. I just want to start by telling you a little about what we do and who we are. So at ARS, our mission is to empower individuals with diverse abilities to live fulfilling and independent lives. We are dedicated to creating a supportive and inclusive community where every individual is embraced, celebrated, and encouraged to reach their fullest potential. So just to summarize that kind of into our motto is turning disabilities into capabilities. Right now we have 6 group homes in the area, 5 service adults, and 1 is a children's group home. And those are comprised of 23 residents. We also have a community engagement program that services 39 individuals, and our day support program, which is the old bowling alley, now known as the agency, We'll hopefully have 50 individuals by the end of our first year. That's our goal, is to service 50. And we already have people on a waiting list for when we open those doors. So we're confident that will happen. We want to show you a couple of examples where we have taken existing infrastructure and turned it into something beneficial for the community. So we have 2 short videos for you. The first one is our ARS headquarters, the old bogies. And this construction turnaround time was 8 months from start to finish. The next one is the agency, our day support program. The construction time for this on the inside has been 6 months for the interior, and we still have the exterior to complete. And so the outside still currently looks like the top, but you can see the rendering there of what the outside's going to look like. So definitely a nice facelift for the community. But, you know, the real joy happens inside of that space. So Avila Academy is what we hope to be our next project. And as you will hear through the presentation, the need for this service is very high within the Twin County community. We would like to utilize the Baywood School to continue serving the kids of this community and beyond. I'll talk a little bit about our vision. So I will review our projected timeline towards the end of the presentation, but our final vision is to get the school up and running for local students first, whose IEPs signify that they need a private day placement to receive their best education. Then we want to develop some of the land around the school to build group homes for local and non-local youth in need of a residential placement. Our vision includes becoming the first residential private school for students with disabilities in Region 7. Okay, so if you look at the screen here, these are the counties that are included in Region 7 as determined by the Virginia Department of Education. And the counties and the cities. There are currently no residential private schools for students with disabilities in Region 7. And that's only one of 2 regions in the state to not provide this service. So if we have a student in our area, our entire region, from Lee County, you know, all the way up to us, whose IEP determines that they need a residential placement, there's no way for them to be near home. And that's something that we need in our area. It would be so great for Grayson County to be able to provide that. Below that, you will see the day schools that we do have in our region. So there's 2 in Bristol, 1 in Grundy, 1 in Dublin, 1 in Wise, and 1 in Wytheville. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Minnick School, but that is where the students from our area travel to daily. So that is a long commute for them. Again, it's hard for the families to be involved in the child's education because a lot of these students don't have someone who can make that trip. And so providing that here locally would just be very beneficial to the student and to the school divisions. And so our local divisions need the option of a private day placement here in our own community. I have spoken with the Director of Special Education here in Grayson County and the Director of Special Education in Galax City. And I just wanted to share some of their comments with you so that you know that they are also interested in having this private day school here locally. Mr. Lawson said, he is the Director of Special Education here in Grayson County, that there's absolutely a need for the service locally, that having a private day placement closest to students' homes is preferable. And then I asked if he currently had any students on a waiting list to receive a private placement. He said currently there are students in Grayson County schools for which it is highly probable that this will be one of the options considered by the IEP team. From conversations that he has had with Minute, he understands that there could be a lengthy wait for placement at that particular school. So what that means is if the IEP team says the student needs that private day placement and they're put on a wait list, that they can't be serviced. So a lot of those students end up in homebound instruction and they're just staying in their home, not getting out and not getting those social skills that they need. Jessica Draper is the Director of Special Education in Galax City Public Schools, and I'm gonna read her full quote for you. She said, one of the most significant and impactful barriers in special education identified for our area, the Twin Counties, is the lack of alternative placements and resources for students with disabilities that require more restrictive environments and higher levels of support, such as those offered at a private day facility. If this option is located within the Twin Counties, it would not only reduce these barriers by allowing our community to access much needed behavioral and academic support, it would reduce budget constraints often caused by lengthy transportation routes and additional personnel needed to cover these routes in order to access facilities available. The option to keep our students locally would appeal to families for many reasons, including reduced travel time for students to and from school, closer distance between the family and student, and the ability to easily collaborate with staff on site. A local private day school would also allow IEP teams to work hand in hand with private day staff to create more effective and practical transition plans, for students returning to the public school setting once ready. So it is not our goal to compete with our local public schools, but to support them by providing a service that they say they desperately need. Our vision includes providing an alternative for our local kids that is available without a waiting period. Everyone knows early intervention is the key to success. I just found some statistics I wanted to share on the growth of students in Virginia placed in private day school settings. So in 2010, 2011, there were a little over 2,000. In school year 23-24, there were over 3,100. And that's only growing. And there are so many more waiting. That number would be higher if the placements were available. So public schools are limited to using restraint and seclusion due to a lack of staffing. This is often their only choice or safest approach, but it is not effective in helping the child learn to overcome the behaviors leading to this response. Restraint and seclusion can reinforce aggression, creates a negative impact on relationships with the child, and results in further emotional and physical trauma. With a system like UCARU, which is shown here, which we use at Avila Residential Services, students and staff recover more quickly and experience greater success when violence is removed from the educational or treatment setting. And I don't say that to fault public schools. It truly is the option they have because of the staffing and the number of students in the building. Our vision includes bringing more jobs to Grayson County. The Children's Services Act spending for private education day school services has more than doubled since 2010. In 2019, private day school spending accounted for 44% of all CSA spending. If these trends continue within the next several years, the majority of CSA programs expenditures will be for private day school services. We want that funding to be invested back into our own communities. So that CSA funding follows the child. And right now, all these children in Twin Counties, it's following them to Wythe County or somewhere else if they need a residential placement. We want to keep that funding here. We want to build jobs here so that we can support our kids more locally. And once we have that residential component, are the students coming from different localities, maybe even Northern Virginia, their CSA funding follows them to us. So just an example of some new job opportunities for Grayson County. We'd be starting from the ground up, so we would have to have a full instructional staff and a full support staff. That's several jobs right there coming into the county. Once we get the residential component in, we have to staff those houses with direct support professionals and house managers. You're looking at, for a kid's home, probably 7 to 8 staff once the home is manageable. It takes some time when you get new kids living together. So it can start even as high as 12 to 14 staff per home. Our vision is to do a Virginia farm to school program. We feel like kids win by receiving nutritional, locally grown food. Local farmers win financially, and the community wins as farm to school programs strengthen the overall local community. We live in the perfect place to provide a farm to school nutrition program. A private day school does not have to follow those Department of Education regulations as far as nutrition programs. So we would have the ability to run that as we see fit. So putting it all together, I'm going to show you a short video about the Camp Hill School in Pennsylvania. They have been dedicated to children and youth with intellectual and developmental disabilities by offering individualized hands-on learning opportunities, fulfilling work, and meaningful social connections. And as you'll see from the video, our community has the ability to offer many of the same activities and opportunities as this Camp Hill School program.
It's taken. Should play any second now. Yeah, it's not coming up.
It's okay. You have the presentation, so if you want to go back and watch it later, that'll be fine. Mhm. I do have, I'm not done quite yet. I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay, so I do want to tell you Taj's story. We received a referral for Taj in the summer of 2021. We were informed he had very severe behaviors such as disruptive behaviors and self-injury, which occur simultaneously, physical aggression, property destruction. While completing several visits, we observed Taj was in a shared bedroom where he slept nude in a hammock. He would wear the same clothes and do the same thing every day. It was reported to us that he had no speech and utilized an iPad to communicate. However, it was very limited. Taj arrived to our home in September of 2021. Taj was from this area originally, and he was sent to Northern Virginia because he needed a residential placement. It wasn't the right placement for him, so ARS took him back. We didn't have him originally, we took him in, and this is his story of success. So in the first week of Taj being in the home, he engaged in up to 20 hours of self-injurious and disruptive behavior, such as hitting himself on the head repeatedly and yelling loud enough to be heard outside the home. Taj would hit himself on the head until he would have blood in his eye, swelling and scabs on his head, and hair loss. He also engaged in property destruction by breaking 2 toilets, several blinds, and the shower railing. ARS staff began offering him different sensory items to engage with during the day and attempted to soothe him when he became agitated. Taj was resistant and refused to shower or bathe in his first week. Staff provided positive reinforcement for each step closer he got to getting in the bath. They made showering time a highly preferred activity with toys, bubbles, and singing to him. After a week, staff successfully got him in the bathtub. Staff began implementing a variety of reinforcement strategies to assist him in learning to effectively communicate with American Sign Language, gestures, and his iPad. Teaching Taj to communicate, staff utilized one-to-one teaching strategies. If Taj tapped on a preferred person on his tablet, he had their pictures, that preferred person would then immediately engage with him.
Ms. Boyles, can I ask you, you're about to go over your time.
Oh,
here,
okay,
so-
well, let me get to the timeline then. All right, so here's our timeline. We will apply for grants related to construction and renovation of the Baywood School. Begin renovations on the Baywood School, collaborate with the Department of Ed and local school districts to prepare for the transition of services for local students, hire and train new staff members with a commitment to providing quality education. We want to start by opening the private day schools so that we can go ahead and start servicing our local students. Once we have that open, we can begin construction on the community group homes and add residential license for the school to serve students in need locally and across the state of Virginia. And just as a reminder, what I told you at the beginning, that our motto and our passion is turning disabilities into capabilities. And this video, very short, shows that's Taj now. And I know you didn't get to hear his whole story, but that right there just kind of sums up how far he has come.
Awesome, thank you, Ms.
I
Boyles.
just
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, are you guys gonna be partnered with the Minnick group or y'all totally
No,
separate?
sir, totally separate.
Totally separate,
Mhm.
okay. Because I'm a little bit familiar with
Okay.
them. And I would say this has been an excellent presentation, so you probably get an A+ if we
Well,
were
thank
grading.
you. I appreciate that. Did you hear that, boss? Anything else?
Yes, sir. I have a-
Yes.
Yeah, great presentation.
Thank you.
My question is, about how many jobs will this create and how many students will it school serve?
Okay, so that is all dependent upon what students need placement. And so I do know that currently there are 10 students from Carroll, Galax, and Grayson County that attend Minnick, but there are others waiting. And so we have some students locally who are receiving homebound instruction because they're on a waiting list and don't have a private day placement they can attend. And so our local schools are paying for those homebound teachers to go in after hours. I probably don't have to tell you that teachers are really tired right now. You know, there's not people knocking down the door to work extra hours after spending all day in a classroom. So I truly feel this will benefit the morale of our local school divisions as well. When we first get started, we plan to have like a 1-to-3, 1-to-5 student ratio. It truly depends on how the public schools write the IEP. And then we will have to have a director of education, special ed educators. We will have specialty teachers. We want to offer like the PE and the arts in the school. Different types of therapy, OT, PT, speech and language. We also will have to have like custodial maintenance, a nutrition staff, you know, so paraprofessionals, aides, substitutes. We're going to have all of that. I can't really give you a number until we know how many kids we have, but we hope for that to grow and build. And then, like I said, when we include the residential component, each home that we're able to add and fill, you know, that's going to be probably 8 to 10 jobs per home. And I will tell you that Nick gets calls probably 3 times a week asking if we have room in our one children's home. One of our kids spent 60 days in the DSS office, lived 60 days in a DSS office in Buchanan County because they had nowhere for him to go. And you know, and that's just one, and we just happen to have a spot. Right now we don't, but we hope to open up a lot more of those spots with this.
Sounds like it's safe to say it could be substantial.
There.
Several
Mhm.
jobs here.
Mhm.
And I serve on CPMT board, which oversees the spending of the CSA, and I know we have a lot of Grayson residents that are placed like Minnick. They make the daily track back and forth to Whitfield, and we also have residential placements. Not just the family having to make the trips back and forth, also DSS support.
Absolutely.
That has to follow up and make contact, so there's trips, so I can see be a great benefit for this area to have something.
So this school is within my district, so I do have some questions just from our local community, because of, they were hoping there'd be some kind of venue that the community could participate in. I think this is wonderful. You've done a wonderful presentation. Is there gonna be room, if you were to acquire the whole property, is that what I understand?
Mm-hmm.
So the group homes would be behind the school, in that area, behind the school?
Yes.
Okay. And would there be any, just so the public might know, would there be still any room for our community to have our Ruritan events and other community events?
Yes, I think we talked a little bit about maybe they taking a piece of that land, that doesn't come with it, just for their events and stuff like that.
Yeah, I believe they only use usually about an acre, maybe 2.
And we also talked about too, after renovation, the community can come use the cafeteria, the kitchen, and use it for events if they needed anything like that.
So like a commercial kitchen.
We want it to be part of the community, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
I knew that.
We're gonna take a recess.
I'm good, how are you?
Thank you.
Oh, hey, that hurts, I've got a brand new house.
Oh.
I'm very.
Oh.
So I get to see all of it. Can't shake your, I'll shake your left hand. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so All right.
Yeah.
Why are we cutting Lindsay's position?
Well, you probably know, the county administrator was asked to make recommendations for places that we could cut. Things that we need versus things that we want. In order to possibly prevent tax increase or at least decrease tax.
Hey, Steve, I know bother you.
Okay.
Like, I love to.
Hang on just one second. Let me get this out.
Appreciate you talking to me today, and I don't think there'll be any discussion on, how we, everybody will dig into the budget, so. I know there's a couple of them that had some questions, so I thought I'd try to answer them.
Yeah, I didn't, honestly, I didn't know I was on one day, but,
I love your
what I need to do, be part of.
I kept seeing your stuff there, and I thought, well,
Yeah, I decided I just. Leave conversations.
Yeah. Good. Thank you for giving me.
So he found a matching one to my bigger car. That's so cute. But it's discontinued, so it's very good. Okay, real quick, why does Lindsay go? Was it, is Lindsay in this position one place, the whole office, like, what are we? I'm sorry. Okay, so the funding we cut is not really federal funding covered. This is just about like personal development or something else.
Yeah, your bitch will be right here. Right.
Okay. Well, Jerry Wilson.
Yeah, so we don't have anybody here.
I'm just kidding.
Do we have another one?
Oh, no, that's public comment.
Oh.
There's just one on it, and Jerry Wilson, he put it.
Oh, okay.
You only look at your husband back before it feels better.
I suppose.
I don't know.
Wonder if it's that video. Did it finally play?
I bet it is.
You think?
Is that
That's the replay of the meeting.
I cut it off.
You're replaying it.
Sure, I'll take one.
It's playing back. That's what I was like, what are we hearing? Uh-oh. Fast forward. I know you might have to fast forward a little bit.
All right, good to go back there and listen to it. Right?
He's like,
Sorry. I was starting up, hey, this thing is playing, so rather than lose it, I'm gonna start it up.
Okay.
I'll do the rest of the meeting on PSA.
Oh, I'm good. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Lynn?
Okay.
So that part will be on board supervisor, the rest of the meeting will be on PSA.
Kitty hanging in for the long haul. You're
When I saw, I
Yeah. Oh, no. That's what your maiden name was.
You want me to kick him? You want me to kick him?
Have your permission to repeat that.
somebody I grew up with and have known my whole life passed away.
Oh, monkey lover, what'd you do? I'm sorry. Sorry. I thought he was dying.
All right, we'll call the meeting back to order. Next thing on the agenda is registered speakers. We do have a Jerry Wilson that signed up, but he's left the building, and we believe that he did that on purpose. He spoke earlier in the road 6 years. We have no old business. New business, we have 4 resolutions that we're going to waive the reading of. I'll read what they are. It's the no-cost rural addition resolution for the addition of Allegheny Road to the secondary system of state highways, Grayson County Smart Scale Project Traffic Management Plans, Community Impact Grant for Grayson Land Care, DB doing business as the free market, and a resolution, Community Impact Grant for the New River Wildlife and Conservation Club. Somebody want to make a motion to?
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolutions as they were written.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I do. So the community impact grant, is that Is that basically just their request for this, do we know the amounts?
We do.
Can we get those?
Yes, sir. The land care is around a little over $500, and the newer wildlife or conservation club is about $1,280, $1,300, something like that.
It's budgeted in the community support.
Okay.
Line item.
My one question was to regards about the one about Allegheny Road. I'm just a little unclear why we're having to do this.
Okay, there was a section of road, no man's land, just 1, 2, 3, whatever it was, but anyway. BDOT said, hey, we're gonna be paving, that part of the road. And said, when we get to this road that nobody owns between Virginia and North Carolina, we've been pushing the snow out of it and all, but it'd be nice if we could take this into our system and so we could just pave right on to the line. And so they asked us to get these right of ways. And Christian, our GIS guy, has done a great job. Taking about a year to get everybody tracked down and get it done. But now it's done, and this is the resolution from VDOT, so that when they pave that road, that little bitty section of no man's road will be paved.
Okay, thank you for that.
Mitch, that's out like Little River past, okay.
And it's
I know exactly where you're talking, it's tiny little
It's a
section, yeah.
tiny
I
little
know.
section. They say if you'll get the right.
Nobody would claim.
Yeah, if you'll get the right way done, we'll be.
I think the one gentleman that was here comes and speaks about it sometimes during this meeting. I think I saw him here, but he didn't speak. But
Yeah, he
I
was.
know he'll be
Yeah.
happy that this is getting done.
Is that right across from the river campground down here? Is that little section?
No, it's way out Little River,
Okay, over your way.
towards that way of North Carolina.
Goes into North Carolina, that little section. We don't claim, they don't claim it now, we claim.
Okay, good.
All the questions I have.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. If there's no more discussion, all those in favor signify, roll call vote. Mr. Anderson? Mr. Hash? Mr. Cornett? Ms. Thomason?
Aye.
I'm also aye. Okay, brings us to board appointments. I believe we have one application. That's from Justin Hines from Old Town Business. Is that the only board?
I have one as well.
Is it for the EDA though?
No, yeah, the only one for that.
Okay, so we want to go ahead and make a motion to accept the application or not accept it?
I think there needs to be a discussion.
We got to make a motion first.
I make the motion.
Okay, second. Got a motion and second, any discussion?
So let me understand this is my support for Providence District.
Right.
So, I actually spoke with Justin Hines after, the last time that we met. I think several of the people that Mike had reached out to in Providence District were unable to serve. And he had mentioned to us if you all knew anyone else that would be an appropriate member for the board, or so let him know. And so I contacted Justin. I actually honestly had forgotten. So he currently, his residence is on State Shed, which is in my district. But in Justin's own words, he does everything but sleep in Providence. So Hines Tire, most everybody knows, mechanic service that he has. He has a farm, all of his land, pretty much everything, so is in Providence. He's probably more familiar with the district than most. And I just ran it by Mike, and he thought he would be a good fit as well.
And I contacted Justin, spoke to him, and I really do feel that as far as my district, he would, have the best interest in decisions that were made, and because he has had a business there in Green Valley for a long time. His family's farms over there. So I think he has a vested interest in my district, good fit.
And I will, oh, I'm sorry, Mike.
And as of right now, I don't really think we have any parameters, criteria, for these EPA positions, where they actually come from. Maybe, if it's an issue with anybody, by next year, maybe we can do an organizational meeting, we set up parameters and whatever. I just think he'd be a good support for the district.
He, I will say too, after Hurricane Helene hit, I think Justin closed his business for 1 or 2 weeks for volunteer efforts right there in Freeze and Providence. So again, I know he is technically an Old Town resident, but he most certainly serves the Providence district.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
I know Justin very well. I think he would do a good job. I've talked to him several times in the past. I just wanted to make sure that it's designated Providence because we spent a lot of time trying to organize who's who and where appointments.
Yeah.
So that's on.
I think it's very appropriate. It'd be Providence considering he has a business there.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
One more board appointment. The director of DSS and I were talking, and I'll be rolling off in a couple months, and I told her that I'd just go ahead and roll off now. So I've talked with Mr. Mike, and he's agreed to do the DSS. I'm going to do the May meeting, but the June meeting will be the new. So
I make the motion that we replace Brentley Ivy with Mike Hash on the DSS board.
Second.
Got a motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm also aye. 3 stormwater easements. I think this requires a motion.
It does, just to set the scene. There's 2 private roads, 1 school, 1 state. This is the last part of phase 1. I think I sent you an email. Sorry, we can't get to phase 2 until we finish. We can't get the funding for phase 2 until we get to finish with phase 1. This gets us like 92% of that. If you approve this tonight, then we can push on with the larger grant that should be coming our way. And I think you remember as well, a couple of weeks ago, we were told that this money would have been suspended and we would not get to some money. Paul made some arguments that it was COVID money and they agreed. And so now we'll be, and it was reinstated. So now we should be able to get these funds to help with the water abatement issue at preschool. 4 easements, Durbin's written them all. I'll be the signator, so we just need a motion to allow me to sign those easements.
And might make one statement before this is something we've been working on. A prior board had got through the engineering phase, I believe, several years ago. Since the renovations at Freeze, that portion sits in a stream bed, and so it's been subject to flooding several times, and is a serious issue, especially when there's students at the school. And hopefully, so now we've got through this engineering phase again. First time, I think it was going to be at the county's expense, about to the tune of nearly $900,000, 800 some thousand. So this time we have the money. So I'm excited to see this for the county and town Freeze. But Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to allow the county administrator to sign stormwater utilities easements for the 5 parties that are listed as approved by the county attorney, Mr. Durham.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We've only got 4 listed here. Do you want to amend your 4 parts? Okay. Everybody go ahead. All right. This does not require a roll call. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm also Do we have a county administrator report tonight?
No, sir, just real quick remind everybody, we're still in large item pickup. If you have questions about large item pickup, look on the website or call a county office. We'll help you with that. That's all, guys.
Anybody want supervisor time? All right, this time I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're in closed session.
See you, Kim.